Hi everybody, it's Nikki here and welcome to a bookish video. It is Bookgammon time. So last month I took it quite easy on myself. I only used one piece on the board again because I was taking part in the Whatever You Want-a-thon. Now I can say that I am pre-filming this quite early because with me doing my gym challenge for the month of June, it means that I'm not really getting time during the week to film. So I do still have quite a few books on my TBR left for June, but I am still hopeful that I will get to all of them, if maybe not one or two. So I'm not going to prioritize pick any of my books for this month because I don't know whether I will get to them or not because I'm filming early. Do you see my dilemma? If you don't know the rules by now, all of the rules were in my January video. I will link the playlist for you in the description box down below, so please check that out for the rules. But this month I decided I'm going to go back to two pieces and we'll see just how nice Bookgammon is. My first month back doing two pieces. Roll the gameplay footage. Okay, so let's remind you of the genres. We have red for thriller, pink for contemporary, orange for classics, green for middle grade, yellow for graphic novels and manga, purple for non-fiction, and blue for fantasy or sci-fi. Here we have the prompts, so let's give them a bad shuffle as per usual. I can shuffle normal cards, just these ones are a bit more difficult. There we go. So we will put them up here, and then we have our dice and our dice and our cup, and we're playing with two pieces this time, so we are going around the board this way to home. So our first roll is a 5 and a 2. So our first piece is 1, 2. So we have a fantasy, and our second piece is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a middle grade. So fantasy and middle grade. So the middle grade is creature with a tail on the cover. Okay. And our fantasy is buzzword of the month. Books with Lala does a buzzword every month, so I will check out which is the buzzword for July and I will try and pick a book with that prompt. Our second roll is a 6 and a 1. So let's go for 1 here, so that's an orange, so that's a classic, and move this one 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have another fantasy and a classic. So for the classic, we have a book with red on the cover, and for the fantasy, we have newest purchase. There we go. Roll number 3, a 5 and a 3. So let's move this one 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So another middle grade, and then this one 3. 1, 2, 3. Aha! They've both landed on the same triangle, so that's just one prompt, and that is a middle grade. And then the prompt for this is a great friendship. I can do that. Roll number 4. No! Damn it! Well, at least there's only one prompt because they both have to move back one. So we move backwards one. And we have a thriller. Ooh, okay. This is awesome because I currently have my point system at work, but Bookgammon has told me to treat your shelf. So that means I get to buy myself a brand new book. Now, do I make myself buy a brand new thriller because it's in the thriller category, or should I be able to buy any genre I want? Let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think I should do? Should I keep it to the genre that it is, or allow myself to buy from any genre I like? So, not too bad of a backwards roll there. Actually, didn't work out too bad for me at all. Roll number 5. 2 and 1. So 1, we have another middle grade, and 2, 1, 2. So we have a classic. So for the classic, we have an author I've read from before, okay? And for the middle grade, we need mythical creatures. Roll number 6. 1 and 5. Okay, I'm going to move this one. So we're now onto a purple, which is non-fiction. And this one, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have a thriller. So for the thriller, we have newest on my TBR. That's interesting. And then for the non-fiction, a place I want to go. So it just needs to include a place that I want to travel to, a place that I want to visit. So there we go. Roll number 7. 5 and a 1. Okay, let's go. We'll move this 1 so I can get another fantasy. And then that means we need to move this 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we get a contemporary. Okay, so the contemporary is a free pass. Yay! Wow, she's been good to me this month. I thought she was going to be mean for me the first month that I come back to double pieces, but no, Bookgammon is being nice to me for a change. So a free pass means I don't need to pick a book, or I can mood read, 1 or the 2. So yeah, I can mood read any contemporary book I want, or I can just have no book for that one. And then the fantasy is my lowest anticipated. So one that I'm not really looking forward to reading, or I'm just not as interested as I was when I first purchased it. But yeah, those are the problems. Roll 8. This one is nearly home, so let's see if we can do that. 5 and a 1 again. Okay. I need to get this one moving. So let's move this one 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A graphic novel or manga. And then this one moves 1 for another thriller. Okay, so the thriller is a domestic thriller. Now these are not my favourite kind of thrillers. I prefer a detective thriller. So I need to pick a domestic thriller, which is one, you know, husband and wife kind of, or mother-daughter kind of setting. And then the graphic novel or manga is to reread a fave. What could I do for that one? Yeah, so that's that one. Filming, honey. Okay. Roll number 9. Is this the last roll? Yes. Okay, that's that's the last roll, because we can move this in 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's home. And then this one, the 5. 1, 2, 3, and we're home. So that is it. Bookgammon was nice to me. Wow. I really thought she was going to be mean. I really, really did. Okay, let's go choose some books. So that was how the game played out, and I felt that Bookgammon was pretty kind to me until I started picking the books, and you'll see what I mean. Roll number 1 was the first prompt was a fantasy, and that was the buzzword of the month that Books from Lala does throughout 2021. Now, the buzzword for the month of July was what was it? Was the word last, and I hunted my shelves. I could find the word lost a couple of times, but not the word last. And in fact, I went through all my genres, and I only have one book that was a middle grade that had the word last in it. And it's the start of a new series, and I'm not quite ready to start a new series yet, so I made an executive decision. I looked at what the buzzword was for June, and that was a name or title in the title. So name, Nicola, Sarah, Bob, I don't know. And title, Mr., Mrs., Queen, Doctor, something like that. So I decided to go with that buzzword rather than July's buzzword. I hope nobody minds. And so for that, I'm going to read The Bane Chronicles by Cassandra Clare, Sarah Rees Brennan and Maureen Johnson. This is part of the Shadowhunter series that Cassandra Clare writes. And this is basically like a companion novel full of short stories about Magnus Bane, who is a warlock in the Shadowhunter world. So it says at the back, there are stories he probably wishes he never got out. So yeah, I'm going to be reading this for the first prompt. The second prompt was for a middle grade, and that was to read a book with a creature on the cover. So I am going to read Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of Nim by Robert C. O'Brien. This was gifted to me by the lovely Bex from my book club. We were gifting each other for Christmas, and she got me this, and she said, 2 of my favourite childhood books and films. I couldn't choose between them. Merry Christmas from Bex. So yeah, she actually bought me 2 books because she couldn't choose. She bought me this and Watership Down. I didn't fancy reading Watership Down, so I'm going for the shorter one. So yeah, this was a childhood favourite of mine. That's why I put it on the wish list, on my Amazon wish list. And yeah, I remember reading these books and thinking that these rats were so clever, and maybe that's why I had pet rats as an adult. But yeah, rats are so clever and adorable. This one's a really floppy paperback as well, so it should be really quick to read. So I'm going to be reading that one. For roll number 2, the first prompt was a classic, and that was to read a book with red on the cover. So for that one, I'm going for The Virgin and the Gypsy and Other Stories by D.H. Lawrence. She has a beautiful red dress on. So yeah, this is just these stories of myth and resurrection, of uncanny events and violent impulse, were, with one exception, written and published in the latter half of the 1920s. Coinciding with the composition of Lawrence's controversial masterpiece, Lady Chatterley's Lover, which, by the way, I'm reading for my book club pick for this month. So I'll be reading 2 D.H. Lawrence's. I forgot about that. So yeah, I'm going to be reading this one for the month. For prompt number 2 of roll 2, we had a fantasy, and this was newest purchase. And this was where I suddenly realised that Bookgammon was being sneaky and I was a bit unsure as to what I could qualify as my newest purchase. So I turned to a couple of friends and I asked them, would my Fairy Loot book count as my newest purchase or not? And a few of them came back and said, well, no, because you didn't choose that book. So it would have to be the newest purchase that you physically bought yourself. And then a couple others came back and said, read the one that you want to read. And I kind of felt like that might be cheating a little. Because other than my Fairy Loot book, this was my newest purchase. This is The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. It is the first book in the Wheel of Time series. I don't even know what this is about, but I heard so many people talking about the Wheel of Time. It was in my Books That Intimidate Me video, which I recently posted. And yeah, I think I'm going to enjoy it, but it terrifies me because it's brand new, the spine hasn't been broken, it's going to be a stiff book to read, it's not very floppy. Bookgammon, she does me dirty every time. So yeah, The Eye of the World. This is why I do Bookgammon, actually, because it forces me to pick up the bigger books. Yes, so that is that one. Roll number 3, we only had one prompt to do, and that was a middle grade, and the prompt was Great Friendship. So for that, I'm picking up The Dream Snatcher by Abby Elphinstone. I have tried to read this and put this book on my TBR multiple times, and I still haven't gotten around to it. It's in library binding, which is why it's so flashy. And the reason why I picked this for Great Friendship was because apparently she has a wild cat called Griff who's always been by her side. So yes, I believe they're going to fight the evil Dream Snatcher. So I'm going to be reading this one. For roll number 4, we had one prompt again because we got a double and we had to move back, but it was fine. It was only a double one. And the prompt was to treat myself, which I did. I am filming this on Sunday before you see this, and yesterday was our book club meetup, and we all went into Waterstones, where I proceeded to treat myself to 3 new books. I don't know if I'm going to use any of those books as my book for this prompt, or whether it's just a free prompt where I don't have to read anything, because Eye of the World. I have Eye of the World on my TBR. So the less books I have to read as well as that, the better. So yes, I'm not going to put a book in for this prompt. I treated myself because Bookgammon told me to. So I will do as I am told. For roll number 5, the first prompt was for middle grade, and that was to read a book with mythical creatures. So for that, I'm going to turn to Hans Christian Andersen's fairy tales. This is the Bath Treasury of Children's Classics. Sometimes I will class these books as a classic, sometimes I will class them as a children's book. They're children's classics, so they kind of go between both genres. This has beautiful sprayed edges. It also has a ribbon bookmark, and they also have some awesome artwork inside as well. So I did recently read the Mina Lima edition of Hans Christian Andersen's fairy tales, but I'm going to be reading them again. So yes, that is my book for this prompt. The second prompt for roll number 5 was to read a classic, and that was to read an author that I've read from before. So for that, I went to Alexander Dumas' The Three Musketeers. Has anybody heard that they're bringing D'Artagnan back? Apparently, the film a new film of Dogtanian is being released on June the 25th. Anybody else remember Dogtanian? Like, and the Three Muskehounds? Yeah, I used to love that cartoon when I was a kid. So yeah, I have seen the film that this book cover is taken from, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So yeah, I'm going to read The Three Musketeers for this prompt. Moving on to roll number 6, the first prompt was a non-fiction, and it was to pick a book of set in a place I want to go. So for that one, I'm turning to an ebook, and the ebook I have chosen, it's not going to let me. And the ebook I have chosen, I can't pull up because my tablet has died. Isn't that always the way? So I will have to read you it. It is the Salem Witch Trials, a history of, I will try and link the actual name on the video here for you because I'm totally unprepared. This is an ebook. It's only 33 pages long, but apparently it gives a little brief history. It's going to be a really brief history at 33 pages of the Salem Witch Trials and what happened. Now, I'm saying, because this is set in America, and I would love to go back to America. I have been once. Me and my daughter flew over to Disney World in Florida, and then across to New York for a couple of nights as well, back in 2009, and we thoroughly enjoyed ourselves. And I would love to go back to America. And yes, I would like to travel to the other places in America of historical value. So yeah, I will be reading that ebook. And then the second prompt for roll number 6 was a thriller. And bear with me on this one, okay? Just hear me out. I know what you're going to scream at me. I'm going to read 8 Ghosts by the English Heritage. So this is a book of ghost stories that English Heritage commissioned writers to write a short story set in an English Heritage site. So we have 8 separate stories here. Now you're going to tell me, Nicola, that's not thriller. That is paranormal fantasy. And I hear you. However, thrillers are meant to thrill and excite you and have you in suspense. And that's what ghost stories do. Ghost stories have you in suspense and they give you a thrill. So I'm counting it. I'm counting it. And this is my newest on my TBR, which was the prompt, because I got this from my good friend Charlotte. She read it, gave it 3 stars, I think she did, and then she was unhauling it, and because I love my history, and this is produced by the English Heritage, I was really interested in this. So yeah, that's what I'm reading for my thriller prompt. For roll number 7, we had another fantasy, and this was my lowest anticipated. So for this one, I'm going to be reading Poison Study by Maria V. Schneider, or Snyder. The reason why this is my lowest anticipated is because this is now my oldest book on my TBR. So I keep a notebook where every book that comes into my home and onto my shelves is written down in this notebook as I purchase them. So I know which is my newest and which is my oldest. And then I mark them when I've read them. And this is the first book on that list that has not been read. So it is my oldest book on my TBR, therefore it is obviously my lowest anticipated because I haven't picked it up yet. So I'm going to read Poison Study by Maria V. Snyder. For the second prompt, for roll number 7, we had contemporary and we had a free pass, and I'm taking it. I'm taking a free pass, no book for this prompt. Roll number 8, the first prompt was a thriller, and for that we had a domestic thriller, and I'm going to read I Know Where She Is by S.B. Caves. I have avoided reading this book because it deals with a mother and daughter situation where the daughter has been abducted and the mother doesn't know where she is, and then on the 10th anniversary somebody writes her a note claiming to know where this girl is. So yeah, I've avoided this when my mental health is low, but my mental health is good at the moment, so I feel like I can read this one. The second prompt for roll number 8 was a graphic novel or manga, and this was to reread a favourite. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pick up 2. I'm going to read volumes 1 and 2 of V.E. Schwab's Shades of Magic graphic novel. This is because the third one has been released. It's been released for a while and I do want to purchase it. So I want to reread both of these volumes so that I can purchase the third one and know where I'm at. So that is my graphic novel. And then roll number 9 took me home, and that was it. That was the end of my TBR. She gave me 12 books. She gave me The Eye of the World. Bookgammon is back to her old habits. So books here you would love to read. If you would like to buddy read any of these, please let me know and we can arrange that. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!